Hello. Hi there. How's it going, everyone? All right. Everyone's dropping in, saying hello. All right. You demand presents?
Hello, teacher.
Hello, Rini. Here we go. Okay, so don't forget to change your names back to your roster names if possible, obvious alias in particular, and everyone else. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to Excel. Here we go. There's a bunch of people dropping in. How's it going? Anyone had some fun with Excel this week or weekend, other than doing some actual fun stuff like Halloween and stuff like that? Cynthia, you had some good fun, or is it a question?
Question. I didn't
Yeah.
get the link, like for the homework. Or were we supposed to look it up on?
Yeah, the recording.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe I had said I was going to send only the first link, but I'm even wondering if I did that. The recordings you need to look up yourself, or if you can't find them, you need to email me telling me that you're wanting them. I'm not going to send each person a recording of the class for any of the classes. They're always in the handouts. I put the link in there and you go get the link yourself. But I do remember that I believe you were having issues with getting connected and stuff like that. Is that not what was happening? I was trying to help you last week on Wednesday, but I guess you had to go early because I said I would help you get signed up. So what's that?
That wasn't me.
Wasn't that Cynthia? I thought it was someone. Okay, I thought it was you. I remember that at the end I would said that I would help someone get connected, and yeah, it was. Again, I am sorry if it wasn't you. All right, so here's the deal. While we're waiting for everyone else to come in, please go to the chat and give me a little hello. And hi everyone, hi Jessica and Justine, Cynthia,
Hi, teacher.
Doran and Ilda, Arisbel. Wow, so many of you guys. Susanna, Alan, you need to put your last name on your name. Ilda, Stephanie, Al, Rini.
Hello.
And Cynthia. I already said hi to Cynthia though, but everyone else, I'm just looking at your names, saying hi to begin to remember them, and to remind you to put your last names if you can. How you do that is you hover over your little video of yourself or your name of yourself, and 3 little dots appear in a little button, and you can click those 3 little dots and then look for the word that says rename. Perfect. Okay. So, all right. Let me show you. Well, a few more people are still coming in, and while you guys are signing up, let me show you really quickly how to get to all the homework. So I'm going to, not homework, to all the handouts. The homework was to practice. Here's how to get to the handouts. You go to sbcc.edu, and I believe what I said is I'd send you an email about how to get to them. And I had 3 new classes start last week, and I believe I had sent them to all of them. And if I didn't send it to you guys, I'm sorry. Does anyone remember getting an email from me saying, here's the link on how to get to the handouts? If I didn't, then I completely apologize.
I don't think I got that. No.
Okay, I was just gonna send you a link to a video that shows you exactly what I'm showing you right now, which is basically go to SBCC, go to student resources, and then Google Drive. And then from Google Drive, you go to shared drives. I'm doing it quickly. And then from there to Excel 1, 2, 3. And here are the class recordings, the Zoom link for class recordings. So this here, it's those 5 steps. See how quick it is when you just do it quickly? So I know it looks like it's this long way to get there, but you basically have to sign into City College Pipeline, go to student resources, Google Drive, shared drives, and there you are. And here are the links to the first day and second day. This was Monday, this was Wednesday. By tomorrow, you'll have a link here again. I will not be sending you these links in an email. I'll send you an email to this link, which shows you how to do this, okay? So that's the one that I will be sending you. And then you can come here, because I can't be sending every student of all my classes a link to that day's class, all right? But I can do this. And I can put it in the in that email where I remind you how to get there, or something like that. So in fact, just to make things easier, since if I did say I was going to send it to you, I want to make sure that you do have it after this class. I will send it to you right now. So here's the link to video to access recordings for Excel. Okay, so we're going to do that. And I am going to send you this right now. And there it is. It's been sent. So you have a video that sends you to this video, which is how to access shared drives for handouts and class recordings. Okay, so that's the link that I just sent you, so that you know how to get here each time. All right, is that going to work, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, so I'm sorry if I hadn't sent it before. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for reminding me, because most of the times I have staggered classes and I'll know when the beginning of one or the other, but it so happened that last week, because of the way the system is set up right now, we used to have staggered classes. Now everything kind of starts. And yes, last Monday, Monday through Friday, I had 4 different classes start up. And I'm still the ones that I was continuing teaching. And so when classes start up, there's a lot of work going around with rosters and this and that, which reminds me, Gustavo, you're not registered in this class yet. I sent you a form that you need to send me back, because you are here because I sent you the link, but you need to be registered or I have to kick you out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So if anyone else is not officially registered, you cannot be in class, because you need to get signed up. Right now, you're attending, but the school, which is in a lot of debt, is not getting money back for you being here. So the class is free, which is all nice and dandy, but we get reimbursed by the school. Otherwise, they can't pay me to teach and yada, yada. So you guys need to be registered and attending. Okay. So I'm sorry if I forgot to send the email of the first day, although I need to, I needed to do that. So now it's there. If you have signed into the chat, good. If not, please go to the chat. I think many of you guys are there. You didn't get the second video. Oh no, I only send the first. Oh, so I did send the first one out. Okay, I never would send the second one out. I only sent the first one out to help you guys get here, to then get to the place where you get the links to see how you get the video. So maybe I had sent it out then. So because here you also have a video, like as long as you know how to get in here, then you have a video, which is the link I just sent you, how to access the class handouts. All right. And the reason I'm answering without you knowing I'm answering is because Cynthia, you sent a message just to me. And so no one knows what I'm answering. I'm answering a message that Cynthia wrote in the chat, but just to me. So whenever it's a class question or a class comment, please send it to everyone so that everyone knows what I'm talking about and I don't sound like I'm just, spouting nonsense. All right. I have a couple things I want to show you today. Once again, how to get here. I've sent you a video of how to get here. So I just kind of went through it really quickly. But I will change my screen to show you a window that for those of you guys who are wanting to get ahead. Actually, let me go one further back. Here we go. This link, I'm going to put it in the chat. This is a link to a page that has some really good, simple tutorials. I told you that you have all the LinkedIn tutorials that you can access, which are really good and can get really deep into very complicated subjects. But this here is a free site that has, in fact, you can learn a ton of different applications here, not just Excel. But if you want to go to the older versions of Office, you can go to here, 2013, 2016, 2019. If you click on any of these, you'll be getting into actual Office 365 or newer than 2019. So if you go to Excel, you can see that there's different parts that there's old, Excel 2000, it's just really old stuff. But when you go in here, you can go to Office, Excel, getting started with Excel, understanding OneDrive, which is that place where those of us who are online have to put our files. So if the OneDrive part is getting a little bit confusing, check on that over there. It's basically, there's a place online that if you own any or have access to any Microsoft product, which Office is a Microsoft product, you have access to a space online, just like Google Drive is the Google version or stuff like that. And that OneDrive is where you can put in files to use. And that's where those of us who are using the Excel online version can put our files. Creating, opening workbooks, saving and sharing, and then cells, sheets. I mean, it goes from very simple to actually pretty complicated. So those of you who are going to see pivot tables and stuff, what if analysis, this is what we're going to get to by the time we get to Excel 3. And then some other features, but it kind of gives you like new features and things like that. But basically, we're going to cover pretty much most of this over the Excel 1, 2, and 3. But if sometimes you want to review something or have another example or have another place to do it, these are pretty good tutorials where you can read some stuff. Like if you just want to read it with samples like this, it just shows you samples, or it has little videos which you can press and it just shows you, it's a little 4-minute video that shows you some things that are pretty simple. Okay, so it's a very simple to get to it. It's free and they are really good. They really are very well explained and with very good explanations. And so whenever my explanations are not enough and you want some more, or you just want to go a little bit more in depth in the stuff, then I recommend going to this site. When you're done with the getting started, you can either go back to the menu, I'm going all the way down, or you can just click on continue and that takes you to the next one, lesson 2, understanding OneDrive and so forth. So I'll let you guys explore this. This is not something that we're going to do, as homework or something like that, but you can definitely explore it on your own. And I just wanted to show you that. It's this CGF Global. They have a whole bunch of tutorials that are free, not just Office, and they're well done. So, career planning, cover letters, design and stuff like that. Some of them are a bit older, some of them are updated, but for the most part, they're very well done. Google Docs, Google Sheets. So, just wanted to give you that option. The other option for tutorials, let me change my screen. And today we're going to go straight into Excel after this, but I just want you to know the resources that we have available because we have so many resources for you at school. And when you're studying online, a lot of the time, that's the best way for you to move forward on your own. So back to Pipeline, over here's where you went to Google Drive for the handouts. Right under that, Google Groups, ignore that. The third one down is LinkedIn Learning. The fourth one down was where you got the Office for free. So this one, if you are clicking on it for the first time, remember, and if you might do it afterwards or do it now, but remember that you need to say always continue without LinkedIn or don't connect to my account. I already did that. So when I click on this, I'm going to go straight into my account. But if this is your first time, it's going to ask you, should you you should connect to your LinkedIn account, your personal LinkedIn account, and you should always say, no, no, skip, don't do that, no, 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 so that it keeps going to the free student version, which is the highest version. If you go to your own, you have to pay a ton of money a month to get to this stuff. But if you go to the school version, you have the highest connection with all the exercises and handouts for free. But the important thing is to not connect it to your personal account. Just go, and then when you're done saying no, no, yes, no, whatever, you end up here. So mine is already there. By the way, I have a whole video here called how to access LinkedIn. Oh, I didn't put, yeah, how to access LinkedIn Learning right there. And I did that recording all those steps that I just talked to you about, how to say no, no, yes, skip, or what to do. So in our handouts, if you go to this one, this video shows you all the steps you should do in order to then get to this, which means you've already gotten there. So now, again, I want you to do this as homework between here and Wednesday. I want you to access the tutorial that I just showed you, the GCF Global. So if you need to go and copy that link in the chat, hover next to that link in the chat. And when you hover with your mouse over the link that I gave you without clicking, you'll see 3 little dots. You can click all 3 of the dots and say copy, and then copy that down, maybe send yourself an email, make yourself a note, or write it down. Although links written down are a little bit harder to ever do. Okay. And then when you get into here, into these tutorials, you can also either search for a skill. You can write Excel over here, and there's 192 courses about Excel, or you can browse in here and it has all kinds of software. This is really, really in depth, every piece of software you can imagine. And in fact, they used to have some singing lessons too. They don't have too much that's not software or business related, but they do have, lots of, communication and strategy and leadership and a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's not just software, but it's mainly business and software. So anyway, if you just write Excel over here, and it has 192 choices, which is a ton, you might want to then start looking for sure about what version of, if you want Office 365 or Office 2019 or whatever, and look at the dates, because when you start looking at dates, here's one that's from 2015. There's nothing wrong with something from 2015 if you own Excel 2016, but if you have a newer version, that will already be a little bit old. So just look at the date of when this version is, because Excel's been around for so many years, and I'm sure they have a ton of, they have things from 2011, 2010, they've got things from wherever. And if you know more specifically what you need, so say that you're looking for Excel formulas, and you just click on Excel formulas, then you have like individual lessons, which isn't just everything about Excel, but it's just information about Excel formulas or introduction to Excel formulas and stuff like that, okay? And then when you do click on the link to start viewing them, which is what I just did, you're going to see that here on the left side, you have like an index of what you can watch, and they're all tiny little videos. So each video is maybe half a minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute. It's short little bits, okay? And so here's build a formula in a cell, something that we're going to be working on today, and it's 1:16, and you can sit here and review it again and again, okay? The only thing is that these guys don't have a teacher there to explain things to you as you do in person, and so many times they might go fast over something or not explain it again, or not necessarily be very clear, but all the explanation you have is what they said. On the other hand, sometimes they're really clear, and that's all you need. So I like it as a complement to the classes where you can ask me questions, but I'm not the only person who can teach you Excel. Many people cannot learn from videos and tutorials. It's really hard for them. But then if you use them together with this, where you learn from there and then you ask me questions, that might be a best way to take advantage of the next few weeks and learn as much as you can about Excel. Now, Justine is mentioning to click on the link here now, which is fine. Click on this link now, it'll open here. But then once the class is over, you won't have the link anymore. So that's why I was saying to maybe copy it somewhere for future references, because if you open it now and then close the tab, it'll be gone. So anyway, that's a good one.
It would show up in the browser history.
And it'll show up in the browser history, but I always have to remember that I have people of all levels in the class, and some people don't really know how to do that. So I have to speak to all levels.
Just pointing it out.
Got it. Now, what you can learn is the main screen. Let me go one more time to the to the website, which is the one where they're the makers of all of these guys, which is EDU GCF Global. And GCF Learn Free. So if you want to write down on a piece of paper, gcflearnfree.org, right? Then you can be anywhere and just write GCF Learn Free and just type that in and you'll get to the link, right? And that's the link. So just write those down on a piece of paper, GCF Learn Free, and then you can click on that and that'll get you to the main page. And from there you can find all of the tutorials. Okay, so just remember, because my link will come and go, web history will come and go, but in 2 months you'll go, where was that website? So take that note of the name of the company that puts these on. And there you go. I just wanted to catch you up with some basic tutorials to help you help yourself. And then after that, now we're going to continue on with our
Joaquin Bailey Musacchio.
Give me 1 second because where's my sound? I'm gonna mute myself for just 1 second here. Okay, so I was teaching all morning and I had one of the kids called me from school, needed to be picked up, and I had to send my husband, and another one's calling from school now. And I'm like, what's happening with kids today? I guess too much candy yesterday. So I'm again sending my husband to go and do it. Yeah, this whole working from home thing is on the one hand awesome, but on the other hand, they see you working at home and they just assume you're not working. I'm like, no, I'm teaching. I just happen to be at home teaching. Can't just up and leave to go pick you up. So we had opened up a basic file, a basic empty file, and we had begun creating a series of numbers and some fields, some labels. Basically, we were setting up a table, a spreadsheet table. And I have it right here. I'm going to share my screen. Do you guys still have it available from last week? And if not, that's okay, because you can open another one. But if you found it or have it, here's where it is. This is my Mac version. For those of you who need to remember how to get back to this place, remember, you go again. For those of you who don't have it at home and are using the school version, how we had to do that was to go back to this web page, head over to Microsoft Office, click on Microsoft Office, and then sign in with your City College Pipeline account. Once you click on the City College Pipeline account, over here, you can go into Excel or look down here and you will see I had called it Basic Practice. If you gave it the same name as me, then there it is, Basic Practice. One thing that I noticed is that, and I wasn't expecting, is that over here, I had Doran send me his homework. He shared this with me. So that might be a good way when you want to share something with me. I have not used the Excel Online before, as I've told you a few times. But this might look like it might be an advantage, because remember you guys had a homework. Again, it's not a graded homework. You don't have to do it. But what was my homework? Who remembers?
It was to practice making formattings.
I wanted you guys to practice to make at least 2 tables. And I didn't care what you put on the table. The idea was to create at least, 3 or 4 rows and 3 or 4 columns of data and to do a little bit of formatting. Okay, so not to make you right or wrong, but those of you who practiced it probably have more questions as those of you who didn't, or vice versa. By doing it, you answered some questions yourself, and then those who didn't do it, then when I start teaching today, might need to be reminded of some of the stuff we did. So please remember, if you have a minute, you all have the access, you all have the programs either for free or on your own. And try to do some of the work that I'm asking you to do. So today I'm asking you that for Wednesday, you should open up the LinkedIn Learning and the Learn Free websites and take a gander at those tutorials. And then the other homework that for sure I will have is that whatever else we learn today, whatever other things we move forward to, we're going to be doing some operations and doing a lot more work with fill tables and others, the fill box and other things to practice it. Okay, and so it would be a good idea, the way Dorian had here, is to create a file where each day that we learn something new, you make a new sheet and make another of whatever it is that we've been learning. So when I say sheet, let me show you what I mean. So right now, if you can go open back again, that basic practice that we were working with. Is anyone not have it? Was anyone not here the other day? I think you were all, actually, Katie? Yeah, you had mentioned what, does
Yes.
that, yeah, I was wondering if you had been able to do it. I remember someone didn't have access to Excel last week. Somehow I keep looking at you, Cynthia, that it was you. It wasn't you? Oh, Al. Okay. Someone had no, I don't know why, Cynthia. I'm sorry that I keep thinking it's you. Maybe you look very much like someone else, but someone didn't have access to Excel last week and watched the class, and I don't remember who it was. Okay. So maybe it was you, Al. Okay. So do you have something that you can open to work with, or do you want to start with something new? Okay.
I went to support and they did give it. I have a question right now. That blue box,
I know. I'm wondering, what is that?
yeah, I got the same thing with A, and I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
It went away later, but now just curious.
I have no idea.
Like, those are my initials, but I don't know how I'd have gotten there.
Well, those are my initials and my name. See, oh, do we share initials? So I told you that my sister calls me D the other day. You said to call you D, and yeah, so Diana Musakio. So these are my initials, which happen to be yours, but I don't know.
Oh,
why.
I think you might be looking at the same thing, because this is like the kind of thing that Google Sheets does or Google Docs do when multiple people are working on the same thing. So I think it's just an indicator of one of them is, you, and then the other is, them.
I hear that, but when I opened this, I thought I'd open my own. This is Diana Musakio's files. How would you guys open mine if you have your own cloud? So I don't know. As I've said before, I know how to use the Word version and the Mac version and the Windows version. This online version that I'm using for the people who haven't downloaded it is a little bit different, and I'm learning things all the time, and I don't know what this is, but whatever, let's ignore it for now and see if it goes away. I mean, obviously it's telling me that I'm the user of this file, but why does it have one cell selected? Like if I try to write something in there, will it let me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I delete it, it goes away. It's acting like a normal file, but I don't know why it's selected there. So
you have it open in your other tab. That's probably why. So things are 2 users.
well, thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
Got you.
someone knows this much better than
There we
me.
go.
I had opened it twice when I was sharing it with you guys. I had opened it once before class started to have it open, and then I opened it again in a demo. And so that was the cell that my other user, my other me. It's great. It's like
Oh.
the Marvel universe. I have different instances of my person. Sorry. For the, I have teenage kids. Yeah.
You have twice as much teaching power.
I'm in the multiverse of Excel. The other me was clicking
Excelsior.
on C11 and this me. Okay, thank you, Katie, very much for that. I was gonna sit there and wonder what that was until the ends of the day. All right, cool. So everyone give me an okay. Are you all on this file? You all have it saved from last week? Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
No one is missing it? Yeah, yes, okay, thumbs up, whatever it takes. I want to make sure everyone's with me. Okay. Hilda, you're there, you got it? Haven't heard from you?
I can't find
I
the
got it.
file.
You got it. Okay, what's that? Someone's,
I did it last, I was at the last class and I did make this, but I'm looking for the Excel file now.
well,
I found the app, but I haven't found the file that I thought I saved it.
were you doing it? And at the end of class, I helped some people get connected. Al, are you all up with your own version now?
Yeah,
helped you? Your own
with
version.
Microsoft.
Okay, and Alan, did you do it here online or did you do it
No,
on your own?
I did it on, I think I did it on my own version, yeah.
Okay, well, so if you did it on your own version and you're a PC person, let me tell you a trick. So I'm gonna move, so you're a Mac person, I'm sorry. So let me move over to Mac. I'm gonna go to this screen when I'm sure. Actually, here, I'm gonna go to this and this, where you're seeing both of them. Okay, and Shelly in. So this is my my Mac version, and it's one really good idea is to go up to, oh, I need to share the whole window because the Mac window is up there. You won't see it, but go up to near the apple, right next to the apple. And when it says Excel under file, you can say open recent. And open recent, you might find your basic practice there from before.
I looked at open recent and I see.
It's
but
unless maybe you didn't save it. So you
uh,
guys, when you have an
I don't
Excel,
recognize it, book, something called.
when you're on Windows, it's somewhere else. But when you're in, I believe it's in somewhere else. You Windows people tell me, file open recent. For people who are in Windows, you have to go to this file tab right there. And then in file tab, when you say open, then it takes you right here to the recent ones that you've been doing. So that's where is your open recent for the PC, and for the Mac, it's right next to the Apple, and then you get open recent. So if you don't know where you saved it, that would help you.
Oh, I think I found it.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have the Mac and the PC version open again at the beginning, and then I'm gonna focus just on one or the other whenever I'm sharing. So I want to show you a little bit more about some of the things in the window that y'all need to know. Oh, I needed to click on this little link there to give me the bigger windows. There we go. That gives me a bit more realistic windows. And I'm going to tell you what's the best way for you to do homeworks with me. Hi, Shelly. Do you mind adding your last name to your account? Or if you can tell it to me, I can add it for you. Because I don't have the roster in front of me.
Sorry about that. Hines, Hines.
Okay, so hold on. Let me Hines. Okay, there you go. Renamed.
Thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so when you have to practice doing these things that I just asked you to practice for homework or whatever it is that you're going to do, each one of these files, and this is the beauty of Excel, is that as opposed to many other programs where each file is an individual item, in Excel we call these files workbooks. And they're workbooks because you can have many different sheets inside of one file, and they can be completely different or identical, or versions of. Most of the times when you use one workbook with many sheets is because they are related. Like, for example, I might have one sheet for January, one sheet for February, one sheet for March, April, May, and so on and so forth. But all of them together give me the numbers for my business for the whole year. So here, right now, we're in sheet 1 with all the work that we did last week. Let's go ahead and open sheet 2. And all we need to do is go in here and press that little plus sign. And here we are. We have a new sheet. And here we can start doing another table. Now, the good news about this is that for homework, you guys can have one file, one workbook that's called homework. And then last week you practiced making tables. This week, you know, maybe you need to make 2 or 3 tables, and you can make 3 sheets with a different table in each one as your homework. So anyway, right now, when you have sheet 1, sheet 2, it becomes kind of confusing what it was in the first one, what was in the second one. So let's head back to sheet 1 and let's actually name this. Let's say that this was our practice table, or this was the, you know, closet table or something like that. So I can right click on the name. Okay, so I'm over here and I'm right clicking on the name, and I'm going to rename this sheet. And this sheet now is going to be called the closet table, right? Or, you know, or clothes or something like that. Here, I think this was clothes. What did I put? Belt, shoes, clothes, and I'll say okay to that. And there's my sheet. Now this one is still called sheet 2. Let people in. This one here is still called sheet 2 because I already had sheet 1. But when I create a new one, now the new one's sheet 1 because I don't have a sheet 1 anymore. You see that? So as long as there's no sheet 1, the new one will be called sheet 1. The next sheet 2, if I create another one, it'll be sheet 3, as long as I'm creating them. But now I'm beginning to have like things are out of order. But you can keep changing the order of these things. So right now I have 4 sheets. None of them except for clothes have any information because they're just empty sheets I've been creating, but I could be just setting these up. So let's go to whatever says sheet 1 right now and call this one sheet 1, just so that we can see that. And so in A1, I just wrote the word sheet 1. But now I'm going to go over here and right click on its name and rename it and call this one testing sheets. And I'll say, okay. And there's the full name of it, but it's still called sheet 1. Okay. When I create now a new one, it'll be called sheet 1 again. And so in testing sheets has lost that name. And even though the information says sheet 1, the name of the file does not. So I just wanted to show you that because it gets confusing. In the past, sheet 1, 2, 3 kind of kept their numbers and they didn't keep changing back. But now when you eliminate sheet 1 by giving it a name, then the next one you make is called 1 again. And it gets confusing because you're like, where should I put this one? So they can all be moved around. So hopefully by now you have 4 or 5 or 6 sheets down here. And let's say that we really want testing sheets to be the last one. I can grab it, click and hold, and drag it over like this, and boom, I've dropped it in the end. So maybe if I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday disordered because of this whole sheet 1, sheet 2, now I can just go ahead and drag them back into place and put them in the order that I want them. Okay, move it to the front, move it to the back. So go ahead, try that. Move your sheets around in order, and then we can end up with sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and then we have testing sheets and end up with close as the last one at this point. All right. Have you all been able to do that? Is there any questions, something that is or isn't working? Yes, Cynthia?
I had trouble.
Hold on, Cynthia. I called on Cynthia 1 second. Yes.
For the first, I'm so sorry. For the first sheet that we did, were we supposed to copy you or come up with our own thing?
You can call it clothes, or if you had something exciting, more like, flavors of cake, then put in cake flavors. We're just setting up a sample, so I don't really care about the names.
Another thing, I couldn't get the layout, the one you have on the screen. I have this. Wait, and I don't know if I wasn't paying attention, but I have.
Well, if you're going to show me something, that's
Okay.
not going to work. Remember that if you join me from your computer, you can share your screen. Okay. So are you joined to Zoom with that from that computer?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Okay,
Oh, to share with my Zoom link. Okay.
yeah, so I'm gonna stop my share and then go ahead and share your screen. This is a good time for any questions regarding where we're at, like what work I'm sharing with you. And if you guys have just joined us, like Shelley and someone else just came in. Who else did just come in? Yeah,
Hey, Troy.
Anne, yeah, that's Anne. What we did is we opened up, Gustavo, I'm gonna add your last name in here. So Anne and Shelley, we just opened up the file that we were using on Wednesday. So hopefully you have found it and you can open up again. Cynthia, do you remember how to share? You need to click on the share screen button. And then you need to,
It's still gray. Like I put share, the green arrow, and then it,
okay, then you have another window. When you say the share screen window, you have another window. The bottom right of that window, you have another button that says share. It's 2 times that you need to click on to share your screen. It's 2 shares. First the share screen and then the share button on the bottom right. Do you find it?
this is what comes up. So am I sharing? No. So I put share and
Oh,
then
because you're on a, that's true. Yeah, so do desktop. Okay. And then after that, don't you see another thing that you need to click on to share?
right here, but it doesn't let me go through.
You have to select the window that you want to share
Oh, sorry.
and then say share. There you go.
Oh.
All right, good. So I'm seeing your screen now. Okay, so, oh, interesting. So you got a whole different thing going on. You got that whole column, which I haven't taught you how to do this. So you guys see how up there she has little arrow that says column 1 and a little white arrow, and mom, a little arrow, dad, little arrow. Do you see that up there? So you've turned this into an actual table, which is something that we're going to learn later on. And it's called a table, and you can sort through data and stuff like that. But that's not the kind of thing that we want when we're doing calculations, which is what we're going to do with this one, with this spreadsheet. So, but I'm trying to figure out how you got here. Did you maybe go and use the styles for formatting? Or did you say insert table or something like that? Yeah. All right. So say cancel to that. Okay. So see, guys, she went to insert and brought in a table, and this is what a table is, which is fine, but it's not what we were doing. In a few days, and in fact, Excel number 2, we're going to talk a lot about tables, and it's for organizing data. So right now, all you need to do is just kind of click again on, like, you know, cell A8 and write belt shoes, like repeat it, but without any, without inserting anything, because a table is not the same as what we were doing. A table is a specific thing that helps for sorting and organizing and finding data. And we're going to spend, you know, Excel 2 and 3, we're going to spend a lot of time with tables. Okay. But I believe there's a way to turn that into a regular. Let me see if that's already a table. Let me just really quickly test this. If I turn it into a table, which I'm just doing myself right now, I turn mine into a table. Can I easily undo the table and you know, like turn it back into non-table? And not sure if you can untable it. I mean, you should be able to, but I don't see right now the quick way to do that. If you already have a table.
Oh, right here.
I'm looking at, I'm doing it myself on the side. Well, if you just did you just do it right now? Then you can undo. Yeah, but I thought you had done it last week.
No, I didn't.
When did you do that? Right now you wrote it?
I just did it right now.
Oh, okay, so then you should be able to undo, although I see that you clicked undo a few times and it didn't undo did it. Yeah, so now you're out of undos. The undo only works in a kind of symmetrical mode where you do from A to Z and Z to A, but if you've in between done other stuff, which you have, the undo stop working. Okay, so just now open another sheet and write it again without doing, I know it's hard to.
Copy them.
But if you copy the table with the columns in the format of table, it keeps copying as a table. So she can't really do that.
Oh,
What you might know, but you know what you might be able to do is copy the data. So do that. Copy only from belts through to 4,000. So click from there to belts. Don't copy the top layer. Yeah, say command or, oh, you lost the selection. Try again. Say cancel and select it all again. From there to there. And go to belts. Just avoid the mom and dad and all that. Yeah. Now say copy, which would be command C or right click copy. Oh, or go up to the copy on the, yeah, there you go. And now move over to like A10 or something like that. Click in there or make a new sheet. Yeah, make a new sheet. And now say paste, which again,
I put P.
oh,
Oh,
you did a print. You didn't do a paste. So
copy that.
it's right click V as in vase, V as in, yeah, there we go. Actually, go ahead and undo that. Say control or command Z again. And now actually put your mouse in A2 and paste. That way you have already a space above to write mom, dad, son, daughter. So right click and paste from there.
Is it Control
right,
V?
Control V. And then up on top, you can put mom, dad, son and daughter, and there you go. There you have your thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to stop your sharing. Perfect. Okay, guys, anyone else who needs to get these things set up? Nope.
Oh,
All right. Let me actually undo this myself because I did all the copying here in order to get the same space that you were. All right. Let me share my screen. And did you all make a lot of different sheets like me? And you have all these sheets down here. Let me go ahead and make a sheet or two in my Mac version, and 2 or 3 sheets. And then I'm going to call this one close, and the rest I'm going to leave unnamed right now. All right. So now we didn't want all these sheets, all these miscellaneous sheets. How do we get rid of them? It's very simple. We're gonna, well, first of all, hopefully you've all moved them around, but now let's say that we didn't want them. So we can do a right click and we can delete that entire sheet. So don't delete the clothes sheet, the one that has the data that we want, but go ahead and delete, right click and delete all the ones that have nothing in them. Okay. So we go back to having only the clothes sheet. All right, and I'm going to do that here as well. I'm going to delete all the ones that I don't want. Now, you can do more than just give them a name. You could also format them. So I'm going to go here to, I'm doing it in the one that's on the right side, the Excel version. I'm right clicking on the clothes tab, the only one I have left. And actually change the tab color. Maybe I can make this tab color green, and it has a kind of a subtle background. I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to make the tab color blue on this one, and that one has more like an actual blue color. So things that are technically the same on both versions look a little bit different, but that's all. Basically, they're the same thing. Okay. Did everyone give your tab a nice little color? Go ahead and try another color. Maybe I'll make this one a deeper green. Cool. All right. Now, so now you can see how you can have, a couple of different colors, and you always know that the green one or the red one or the blue one, and sometimes it's even easier to do that than to have read the name, Okay, so now we had a series of numbers here that were slightly meaningless, because really, how many daughters have 10,000 or 40,000 shirts? I hope. I don't know, maybe some, but certainly not realistic. But still, we should have a way to add up these numbers or to subtract from these numbers. And so let's go ahead and click on and make a new sheet. This time for real, we're going to right click and rename this one. And we're going to start writing something in here called formulas. So this is the formulas. Right click and give it a name of a color of your choosing. I'm going to make this one yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and make a new sheet in here. And I'm going to call this one again formulas. And right click. And the tab color is going to be yellow. Okay. So is everyone with me? We're all on a new sheet. Okay. So first of all, let's go ahead and I'm going to write a couple of numbers here. I'm going to write the number 10. Then I'm going to tab over to 1B. Remember that with the tab, I moved to the right. And I'm going to put a number 5. And then I'm going to tab again. Now I have 10 and 5. And here on the right side, we're going to want to figure out how much is 10 plus 5. As usual, I do it with simple numbers because it's very easy for us to make sure we got it right or wrong when it's a simple number. But it's going to be just as right if this are two stratospherically complicated numbers. It doesn't matter. The formula of add this cell plus this cell is all that really matters. So let me explain. If I were to be writing this in real life, I would be writing 10 plus 5 equals 15, right? That's how you write an operation in the way we've been taught to do it, by pencil and pen. The biggest difference in Excel is that you actually write it starting with the equal sign. So when you just put in a number in a cell, Excel thinks it's just data, like 10 and 5 are data. There's 10 belts, there's 5 shirts. But when you first write the equal sign in there, you're basically telling Excel, here I want a result of a calculation. So here's where you are writing a formula, okay? You want a result of a calculation when you write a formula. So the operation, instead of being 10 plus 5 equals 15, it's going to be the other one. We're going to put equals, and then we're going to put the two things that need to be calculated, the two things that need to be added up. But, and let me be clear, I'm about to do something that is wrong. And I want you guys to make sure that what I'm doing here is just for learning purposes, not for you to do it this way. We're going to write 10 plus 5. Go ahead and do it this way. I have a method to my madness. If those of you who know about Excel already are probably like jumping in your socks going, what is she doing? Don't worry. This is a great way to let you understand how Excel works. So did everyone write equals 10 plus 5?
Mhm.
Right. So now we're going to hit the return key. And there it says 10 plus 5, and I got 15. So how wrong can that be?
It's not looking at the prior cells. It's just doing the internal cell calculation.
We're going to figure out what we're talking about. Right now, what we're using is fixed kinds of information. It's data that is absolute, but it's not even absolute. It's just fixed and unique. Right now, there's nothing wrong about the result. It is 15 after all. And notice that when I hold on 10, here my formula bar, this up here is called the formula bar, says 10 because there's no formula in there. So it just repeats that. the 5, which is just data, 10 and 5 are just data. The formula bar shows me 15, but when I click on this cell that does have a calculation, is showing me a result, the formula of how I got to that result is being shown here in the formula bar, which is why it's called the formula bar. It shows you the formula that gives you this result. Does that make sense? So yes, this is correct in the mathematical way, but it is not correct as far as Excel is concerned. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and write 10 again over here and 5 again over here. And then let's move over to C2 and figure out what's correct as far as I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. I'm trying to find a better way to show you this a little bit bigger. You can see it well. And I'm going to move this one up here too. I'm going to be repeating this over here. So for when I need to show you the difference, so that when I need to show you the difference here, we can have it there. So here we're going to go equals 10 plus 5. And there we go. And this is wrong. Okay, so I'm just repeating because certain things change a little bit. Okay, so now we have, now here we're going to do it the right way. Okay, so this is how I want you to be doing it. And how do we tell Excel that we're about to start an operation that we want to result in here?
Equals.
We hit the equal sign always. There's a few exceptions with some automatic formulas that we're going to be learning about. Other than that, you always start with an equals. Now, instead of saying 10 plus 5, the way Excel wants you to work is it wants you to give you the cell name that is holding the data that you want to add up. So remember how we named each cell was the where the columns and the rows coincide. That's the name for that cell. So what's the name for this cell?
A2.
A2. So we're going to write A2. And just so you see, I'm going to write it lowercase a and 2. So you see that it's just as it's fine. You don't need to go upper A2 uppercase or A2 lowercase is the same. I wrote A2. And Excel is actually changing the A2 into blue. I didn't make it blue. And it's highlighting the cell A2, just so that visually it's reminding me whether that is what I need. And yep, it is. A2 is what I want. And now Excel can't imagine what the formula is that I want. It doesn't know what operation I want. If I want to addition, subtraction, it has no idea. So we need to say plus. So I'm going to do a plus over there. And then I'm going to say the cell name for the cell that has the second amount, which is
B2.
B2. This time I did put it in uppercase, B2. And now it came out in a different color. So see how helpful Excel is. It's giving me colors so that I can really see whether I'm doing the right thing. And basically it's saying, okay, please add up the contents of A2 plus the contents of B2, which happened to be 10 and 5. So now when I hit return, I again get a 15. So although the result was correct both times, how I achieved it, how I wrote the formula is very different. And that's what really matters. We're going to write the formula in a way that Excel can extrapolate and keep using it across all of the different rows and cells and materials. I'm going to show you now a little bit more what I mean. I want us to do one more time, 10 and 5. We're going to do one last attempt at this. Meanwhile, I'm going to go over here and do A2 plus B2 return. And here we go. I'm just got it right on this other side. All right. So why am I doing this? There's another right way to do this. There's another right way to do this. And I'm going to show you right here how it is. And it's going to be equals. So we always start with equals. And this is the way that I prefer what I'm showing you right now. But whenever I teach it in class, there's like half of the people like the way I just showed you before, and half the people like what I'm going to show. It depends on if they're more a visual person or a more, exacting kind of person. And I like to, instead of writing the A2, I like to just point to A2 and click. In this case, it's not going to be A2, it's going to be A3. So over here, I'm going to click on A3. And by choosing what I want to add up, Excel wrote the A3 for me. And I find this to be more accurate because sometimes I'm choosing things that are far away and who knows if it's,
Awesome.
75, M75 or M74, I can't really tell, but I can always click on it and Excel wrote it there for me. See that? Then I'm going to go and do plus, and then I'm going to click on B3 and it was written in there for me. So once again, it's the exact same formula that I wrote before, but this was done in the point and click method. This is in the type it in method. Okay. I'm seeing a hand there. Dee, what's your question?
So when I was trying to put them in, I made a typo and accidentally went
Mhm.
outside of the cell,
Mhm.
and I couldn't go back and edit the cell
Yeah.
without deleting
Making a
from one end
mess.
to the other, and
Yeah.
unless
It's
I
a-
double clicked the cell to hard address the cell. Is there a way of
Yeah.
going about that other
So
than
here's the
double
thing,
clicking?
whenever you make a mess of any type and kind, in this case, somehow you fell out of it or whatever, the first thing you should do in Excel, as opposed to everywhere else that you start by doing a Control or Command Z, when you're entering a formula, if you do Control or Command Z, that kind of stuff gets entered. So when you're in the middle of a cell that has an equal sign in it, meaning you've told Excel you're writing a calculation, you're writing a formula, the only way out of there safely is to hit escape. So say that I'm in here already. I'm going to delete the stuff that I already wrote and I'm hitting an equals. If I, for some reason, clicked on the wrong thing, maybe I clicked on that, and then maybe I put some other number in here and I try to fix it, it's a disaster. And either these weird things happen or I'm in it and all I can do is hit escape. Okay. So when you hit escape, you kind of start from zero again. So if you did that when you already have a mess, okay, if you didn't hit escape and you have some kind of a mess and you have to get back in, then the only solution is to, yes, double click back in. Once you double click back in, then you have to select the stuff in there, delete it, and start all over. But before you move out, when in here, if in here you made a mess and instead of maybe A2, you meant to say A3, then the way out of this is to just hit escape and you start again. Now, when I say escape, I go back to the last thing set, which was the wrong one. So I need to double click and delete. Excel isn't as forgiving with mistakes. Usually what you need to do is basically delete your entire formula and start all over again. It's kind of the easiest way.
So the only way
then
to
you click on that plus that. So right now you had a formula that's incorrect, right in there.
Mhm.
So say you got 25 because you got wrong things, or you got some weird value or whatever because you actually tried to add up the word right. The only real solution is either to delete the whole thing or to double click into it and then from in there delete what you put and start all over again. The only thing that's valid is the equals. Okay, so everyone go ahead and do that. Try to imagine that this was wrong and that you need to do it again. So double click. And what you are finding, this thing that you are seeing, let me just show you. This feature that we're right now doing, which is double clicking into the cell, what's happening is this effect of showing you what you had added up. This is called using the range finder, which seems so simple. All you're doing is double clicking, it's showing you what you're adding, but there's a name to this, which is called the range finder. And it's because this is the range of numbers that is being added up and it's showing you what's being added up. If I go ahead and right now, when I'm in that mode and I'm in, if there's a blinking cursor happening, I am in entering data mode. So if I now, instead of hitting the return key, if I were to now click up here, then, oh, actually, I think it knows that it's already a finished formula. Otherwise, it would have added another, like it would have, it's interesting because there's no data. I think because it knows that I've already said okay to it, that this is finished, it's not letting me. If I had been first entering this data in here instead of B3 and I clicked in there, it would have shifted it to a B5. I think Excel is getting much, much more intelligent and knowing that I've completed it and that's what I want. So anyway, we're going to get this one right. And then as we keep moving down to other examples, I'll show you how to make mistakes and correct them on the fly. Right now, the best thing you can do is delete, hit the delete key, get rid of everything that's there and put the equals and start again. This plus this.
So the only way to
Enter.
get into that hard data entry mode is to double click. There's not a keyboard command
Yeah.
for it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You double click.
That's
I have a
unfortunate.
The only other way is to write it in here. So you select it and then you correct it in there. So you don't have to double click to do that, but you walk into the formula bar and from here you correct it. But from here, you can do the same exact thing. You can be up there and I'm clicking on the right thing and it's right in the same place. So that's the only way that you don't double click is when you go straight in and fix it in the formula bar. Okay. Alan, you have a question?
I have a couple of comments and questions.
Mhm.
One is to see the formula, I double click in that cell. So that's not the way you were doing it, but doesn't matter.
To see the formula, I'm just clicking one, wait. To
So
see
just
the
in the cell.
formula, I'm just clicking one time on the cell that has the formula.
Oh, but
To
if you double
confirm,
click,
a double click
the
lights
cell.
up and it shows me what I'm writing, but
Right.
it also gets into this mode, which is it still has a blink cursor, meaning it's a live formula again. So to get out of here safely, you should
Yeah,
probably
but-
just hit escape.
I give a return. Return does the same thing.
If you do a return, you're making the Excel calculate it again, which is fine since it's
Oh, I
correct.
see.
That also gets you out. But hitting the
Oh, I
return makes
see.
you calculate it again versus hitting escape leaves it intact the way it was when you went in with a double click.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now my question is back earlier when you showed the sheet names with like formulas. How did you get the color? I couldn't get.
You just do a right click and tab color, and then you choose a color. You're on a Mac, so let me show you over here. Right click, tab color, and you choose a color over here. Okay.
I didn't. Let me see if that works for me.
Now, if it doesn't work, it could be that
No.
your right click activated. You're working. You do have a.
Yeah, I'm right clicking. I see it says tab color.
Yeah.
And
Tab
then,
color, and then go and choose a color and click on a color.
but it doesn't seem to tab color.
It's on the Mac. See how subtle it is on a Mac? The colors
yeah.
are not so intense. So it's
Right.
probably
Oh.
working, but it won't work until you move on to another. Like if I click on clothes, now the
Yeah.
blue is really strong. But the
Okay.
one that I just made is very gentle versus formulas. Now it's a very gentle color, but clothes is green. So
Yeah.
it stays versus on the PC, the color is brighter from the beginning.
Okay.
The one that you're working on a Mac ends up being a little bit less less colorful. It's like a softer gradient or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the gradient stuff going on the one I have actively selected over on PC as well.
Yeah, actually I did have the PC version opened so that I could compare before too, but you guys who are on PCs, I teach every Tuesdays a credit Excel class, and so I do it there on the PC. Here I'm doing it in the Mac, and I'm doing it on the Excel online version. So yeah, so all right, so now we have 3 calculations. Supposedly they're all correct. I mean, they all say 15, which yes, is the right answer to 10 plus 5. But I said that these are right and these are wrong. So let me explain now why. Why was I so insistent that this one's wrong? If I now want to use this same format, so this is some other time and place, and this is typical in Excel, that I will have a need to change my data for some reason or another. My data is going to change. Maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-oh, I'm going to mute you, Rainey. There we go. Here in the background. So what if I now decide that instead of 10 belts and 5 shirts, I actually had 10 belts and 7 shirts. So I go in here and type a 7, and I hit return because maybe I had entered it incorrectly or I found 2 more shirts came out of the wash. Whoa, because this was 10 plus 5, it's still correct for 10 plus 5, but it is not correct at adding up the rows of belts and shirts or whatever it is that I had written. Versus here, I'm going to say 7 and I'm going to hit return. And my formula, all it said was add up the contents of cell A2 plus the contents of cell B2. And so 17 is now correct. And the same with this one. So if all I did is change this amount, and now these two, which was the same formula, just written, entered in 2 different ways, were correct. So I can change my data all I want. I can say, well, it was actually 10 plus 12, and I hit return and boom, now it's 22. So the result is always going to be correct versus this will always be wrong unless I go in and completely delete the number and start all over again. Might as well have done it with an eraser and a pen and piece of paper. So that's why we don't put in the data in the actual calculation in the operation. We only use cell references. And in this case, we are referencing cell A2 and B2 right there. And this one, we're referencing cell A3 and B3. When I double click, it's showing me A3 and B3. Okay, so that's the magic and the beauty of Excel. It keeps going, it gets even better. But this is the first thing you need to know, that in the formulas, you always want to have relative numbers, relative cell references, not actual pure data. Unless there's a need, sometimes there is a need for the data to be precise. For example, if you're dividing things by 12 months, then that 12 months isn't going to change sometimes by 11 months or by 7 months, because you're trying to figure out, if I make $10,000 a year, how much money am I making per month? It's always going to per year, you know, and if it's a year, the year is always going to have 12 months. So then you might need to put in a 12 in there, or you can also find other ways to reference it. It's called absolute data, data that doesn't change. So then you could have A3 divided by 12 because you're trying to figure out a number that won't change, but that 12 won't be a number that's being calculated. It'll be how much to divide by. So that would be an exception. Okay. Yes, Al, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I don't know what I did, but I put in the 12 and the 10 plus 12, and I get a blank instead of 22. It just
Okay.
went blank, and I had the same
So
problem
if
with
this, okay, so if this says 10 and this says 12, click
Right.
on your formula and make sure that you didn't delete anything. Did it still say A2 plus B2?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so somehow you change the formula. So double click in there and delete that formula and create it again. Click on that,
And
plus that, and then hit return. Somehow you change the formula. As long as the formula doesn't change, the data can change all we want. In fact, look what I'm about to do. And this is the part that I want y'all to pay attention. Like my screen, don't look
Yeah.
at anything else. I'm going to delete all my data. I selected all my data and I'm deleting all my data. There's nothing there. What I have is a formula here that says this plus this equals 0. So it's correct because there's nothing there and there's nothing there. There's nothing there and there's nothing there. And this one, okay, is correct in of itself, but it doesn't work because there's nothing there, there's nothing there. So now let's write 20 and 2, hit return. And then here we're going to go 20 and 2. And then one more time, I'm going to do 2 and 20. So I can fill in the data later and the formulas still work because it's still correct. Before it had 0 plus 0 equals 0. Now it has 20 plus 2 equals 22. So once again, this keeps showing you why this is wrong and should not be used versus this is always correct no matter what, because whatever you put in there, this is going to do it correct. If I put 30, that'll be 50. Okay, so everyone, let me know if you got this down, that you can change the data all you want and that these numbers are always consistently correct. The results are always consistently correct. If so, we'll move forward, but I'm happy to keep supporting this.
I double clicked on C2, and then I put in B2 plus A2.
Did you put the equals ahead of them?
Oh,
Start
no.
with an equals.
Okay. Then-
That is crucial. If you do not put an equals, if you just do, you know, B2 plus B3 and hit return, it's just words. It could be the name, it could be your, you know, your grandchild's name. It doesn't care. It's just words.
Yeah, I
Soon
put
as you
in-
add an equals in front,
yeah,
then it's adding, look, B2 plus B3. It's adding, doesn't matter that it's not in a row, it's not in the right place. It's choosing B2, it's choosing B3. I'm hitting that, and there we go, 32. And I go, where did
Yeah.
this 32 come from? I don't know. And I look and there it is. It came from B2 plus B3. And if I still go, well, what do you mean by 2 plus B3? Is there I double click and then it lights up. That's the rangefinder function. And I go, oh, that's the problem. I went up there instead of down here. I understand now. Okay, so let me go correct. B2 should have been A2, A3, and now I let go. And now I've got 2 cells that are figuring these 2 up. Okay. Yep.
Okay, I put the equal sign in there and it still gives me A2 plus B2. It doesn't, in the cell, it doesn't give me
All
the
right.
answer.
So go ahead and share your screen so we can see that.
Okay, let me get here to where we're share and share. Okay. Now I've got A2 plus B2. I can click on that.
Go ahead and double click. A2 plus B2, that's fine. Now you got to hit return so that it actually performs the calculation. Hey, go back in there.
Yeah.
Do you have, you're right, and the equal is right. You don't have, do you have a space in front of the equal or not? Double click in there and see if
I
perchance you have a
might.
little X, double click in there again. Oh, the next one, yeah, double click. And go see
Okay.
if perchance you have a space. in
Yeah, there was a
you had a
space there.
space. So go back. There we go.
Okay, and so now then
And
it-
now hit return and that'll work. okay.
oh, okay, so no
So-
spaces in front.
Yeah. And you know, this is why I love people showing their screens, because you guys, if he hadn't made that mistake, you guys, I would have never forgotten, never remember to tell you not to put a space in front. But having someone do it and sharing it makes that the whole class now knows not to put a space in front. So never hesitate when I say share your screen, because it's always a learning situation for everyone. Okay. So cool. Any, if there's no burning questions about this, I'm gonna, that little alarm there is telling me to give you guys a break. How are we doing? You're not able to change the color on Chrome, says Cynthia. Are you doing a right click? Are you able to do a right click on Chrome? Yeah, and it's not giving you a change?
It only lets me change like the name of the sheet, but it doesn't let me change like how you were saying like, the color.
Go ahead and share your screen, because you're basically using the same Excel that I am. Let me just see what you're doing. Oh, someone does not like someone on your lap does not like Excel. Okay, so go ahead and click on, right click on formula. Huh. All right, so there you go, limitations about why, because you're using the same Excel that I'm using, which is the online Excel. So why wouldn't you be able to change the color? That is interesting.
And like this one too, and it doesn't.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. But we're learning some of the limitations. What's weird is that you're using the same Excel I am, which is the one that's online off of school. So I would have thought that it did not matter at all what computer you were on at this point, because what you're using and I'm using are identical. So that's surprising, but there you go. I'm learning about this Excel version. Yeah, if you can't do it, then I can't help you with that because it's the limitation of your screen. So I believe there's probably another way to do it. Where can you handle sheets? Or else there's some tools.
Mm-mm.
You know what? I do not know where else you can change the sheet tab colors. So usually there's a way to do it in the bars, but I've never tried to do this from anywhere else. So if it is available, I'll have to research it because I do not know of any other way to change the sheet colors other than right clicking on the sheet itself. So I have no answer. For now, just leave it with no color. What matters really is the name. That's much more important than the color. The color is a nicety in this case. All right, guys, so we're gonna take 10 minutes. What time is it? 5:35, so be back by 5:45, 46. We just happened to change the moment I was writing, so we'll be back by 5:46. Okay, 10-minute break. See you guys in a little.
Mhm.
Hi, Jocelyn. I just let you into the class, but we are on a 10-minute break. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank
Okay,
you.
so we just started our break, so we're gonna be back at 5:46. So we, just so you know, if you can open up the same file that we were working with last class, the one where we had the belts and things like that.
Okay.
That's where we're continuing on with that, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Susanna, I believe you were already here, right? You just had dropped out? Or did you
Yeah,
just join us?
my
What's
internet
that?
froze. My internet froze.
Yeah,
couple times.
okay, but you know where we're at and everything, yeah. So we're on a break. So we'll be back at in 10 minutes at 5, well, a bit less than 10 minutes now, 5:46, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right. Everyone come on back. I'm accustomed to really long classes, and I forget that in comparison to the other ones that I'm teaching, Excel is a pretty shortish class. So I want you to try and be back right when break is over so that we can move forward with the material. Al, you were raising your hand? Oh, I have you all muted, so you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah, now I don't know why, but the first three cells of the first row, I cannot put anything back in the A column. And
Share your screen, since you know how to do that
Okay.
quickly, and it's easier than guessing
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
right,
For the
okay.
for the most part, when you guys have to show me something, first describe it quickly, and I can sometimes immediately know what the question is. But if it gets a little bit more complicated, it's just always much easier to just share. So you need to move it from the top where it has that like near where those three buttons are, going to the, yeah, that's where you move it from. Okay, so yeah, so what's happening?
Let's see, let me
You
get
you said the first three, the column.
Okay. See, now here I have a 10 in there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, but you wrote it in white. If you look up at the top where it says font, I can see that your text color, so move down, yeah, right there, one to the right, the letter A is in white. So click on that
Okay.
and then give it the automatic, which would be black. Somehow you changed the color. Yeah. There you go. So now you can see it. Okay. And then there's a cell down there, C4, that it looks like you filled with white. So go ahead and check C4. And there you look, seems like you did a fill, not the text now, but on the left side, then the bucket, the paint bucket right to the left of it, right where the A was. Yeah. Click on that bucket. Yeah. Click in there and give it
Black.
No, we didn't want to fill it, just none. So click on that. And then at the very bottom, go to no fill, very bottom. Yeah, there, no fill.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go. Somehow you were working on that and you got those things done. So there you go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Again, you could have explained that to death and I would have never been able to figure it out.
Never.
Seeing it, I immediately can see what's gone. That's why never hesitate to share, you guys. It's always faster. Okay, got it. Okay, I hear what you're saying, Jessica. And now let me get you guys, remember once again that if you're just sitting there watching the screen and putting part of the class, and if you don't have issues with Zoom, I'd prefer to see you than not see you. When I have like 22 people in front of me and I only see 2 videos, it's a little bit alienating. So I appreciate seeing you guys a little bit. So thank you for those of you who dare show your faces. All right. Thank you, Ilda, for turning that on. All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen again for a second there. Jocelyn, we were working on the same file that we worked on last week, and Lucille, you joined us towards the end. Were you both able to open up the file that we were working with last time?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Did you have it, or do you need help finding it? It's usually easy to go to the recents to find the one that we used last week. Remind me, Jocelyn, are you using your own version of Excel or using the schools online? What are you using?
I'm using my own version.
Excel or PC? Mac or PC?
It's usually PC, but today is a Mac.
Okay, so then here we go. If it's a Mac, then you would have to go up to where you have the Apple, you know, the top left Apple icon on the very, very top of your screen, where you see then next to the Apple, the word Excel, and then you can go to File and say Open Recent. And hopefully here you'll have under Recent the file that we worked on last week.
Oh, I have mine. I think it was someone else who couldn't
Oh,
open it.
Jocelyn, oh, I'm sorry. Who was it that said no then? Was it Lucille or who said no? I don't have it. Oh,
Yes, it
someone,
was me, but I think I have it now.
oh, you have it now? Okay.
Mm.
On the PC, you go up to the file right there. And that's, you go to open, you'll end up here in file and you go to the open. And that's how you get the recents. Okay. All right. So I spent a little bit of time during break doing something which is opening up the PC version of Excel. So now right here, what I'm showing you right now is the actual PC version, the full-on PC version of Excel. And I'm going to show, and I needed to show you the PC version and the Mac version because I'm going to show you something that I discovered that the online version, which is this one, does not have. So here I was using this really zoomed in so that you could see the examples a little bit better. But one thing that this version does not have, and I'm going to back out a little bit, even if I back out, is we are missing up here some tools. See where my mouse is moving right and left, right and left. There's some at the very bottom of the screen. I do not see the things that I need to zoom in and out, versus on the Mac version, which is right here, you see that I have these arrows, not arrows, this slider with the plus and the minus so that I can zoom in and zoom out. I want you to try it. And the PC version has the same ones right here, zooming in and zooming out. So I want you guys to be able to zoom in and out, or grab the little slider and then just zoom it in and out to your heart's content. Now this one's getting a little bit small, so I'm going to zoom it in again. So I'm just grabbing that little slider and moving it. And the same with the Mac, but the Excel version that's online doesn't have that. Now, it's not so much the zooming that I wanted to show you, although that's cool too, but I really wanted to show you a couple of things that are, let me just, yeah, thank you. This needs to change. A couple of the features that are to the left of those zooms, okay? There's three little icons here. So those of you who have the Excel version, just watch this because you can't see it any other way. That you can't do it on the, this is what I mean. Those options are not here. In fact, let me see what options are. Yeah, there's no options there for this. So I'm going to show the PC version and the Mac version. And it's these three little icons. And when I hover over this one, and it's very tiny, but can you see, you guys hover over yours, it says normal or page layout or page break preview. Okay, here we go. And now I'm on the Mac version and I hover over it. It says normal, page layout, or page break preview. So what does that mean? Right now, notice that I'm in normal. This is grayed out on both versions. I'm in normal and we're seeing this page the way we're seeing it, which is what we've been accustomed to seeing it. Look what happens when I go to the second link, the second icon. And this version shows me the page layout. So it's showing me the margins of the page. Okay, it's showing me the columns a little bit further out. And it's showing me that by default, I have a set margin here. And I could add a header or to my document if I want. I'm going to do it over here on the Mac as well. Okay, so this might be a bit more what like it works, how it looks like if you're working in Word, where you already kind of type and you're seeing the margins and it looks like the page is going to look like. Okay, you can see the inches, what part of the page it's set in. You can get a feeling for it. But it's harder to really tell what cell things are on. You really have to count on the colors being lit up for you to see that this is B7 and that that's E20, just because you're kind of further away from the action. And then the third choice, though, is only showing you the little tiny bit that you've written. It's called page break preview. And if you had a whole page, it would show you the whole page. But since all we have is this much, then that's all it's showing. I'm going to click on this again. And what if I write something in here? 25, right? And what if I write something in here? I'm going to write 25 again. So now suddenly I have data all over the place. And when I do that, see how now it's trying to include that little cell over there, that one over there, and everything that's on top. All right. So it's just giving you an idea of what it is that you are seeing as far as data. I'm going to go back to the normal page that we've been using, and I'm going to kind of delete that little sample 25 and 25 by hitting the delete key, but I just wanted to show you. I'm going to do it over here again. I'm going to put in a little 25 number down here, and then I'm going to go to the page layout, and now I'm going to go to the page break. And in the page break, you're seeing how it's showing me that little bit, and then the 25 way down there. So it's grabbing all the data that I have. Okay. Now, when I go to page preview, you can see that if this is 5 or 7 inches, here you have a ruler down there around page 41, it kind of says 7 and 8 inches, like that's about 8 inches. So what happens if I keep writing beyond that? So if I keep going beyond that, suddenly I have another page down here. This would be page 2. This would be not page 3, but rather if I stretch out, that would be page 3. So it's kind of confusing in Excel, because if you write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you use all these columns, and then you keep going because you have a column for name, last name, group number, street, phone, zip code, state, yada, 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 yada. You might need to use like up until, you might need to use that many columns, right? So then some of the data gets printed here and some of the data gets printed there. So we're gonna be working with bigger files that have all this data already written in, and you'll see the examples. But consider that if you write downwards and you print downwards, this will be page 1 and that'll be page 2. But that if you're printing sideways, then that'll still be page 2, but that'll be like the third page to come out, and the bottom one will be the 4th page to come out, but it really belongs to page 1. Because it's the ending of the beginning part of that table. Okay, so when you have that happening, it gets really confusing, and you really need to change into landscape version, and we're going to work on that. So, but if you ever wonder, is my material in the right place? Is it working? You'll know that it's not working if it's gone off to another of these pages, and you might need to reshape the things. Now I'm going to go into what would tend to be page 2. I'm going to click here on what looks like page 2, and I'm going to write the number 100, because now I'm going to go and see, well, what happens to this little final version, the page break preview, and you'll see that it's showing me page 1 over there, and it's showing me that page 1 has three columns, a little 25 over there, and a 100 way over there. So it's showing a little bit of page 2. So once again, the page break preview is showing you little bits, gathering just the columns that have some text and showing you what page that material would land with, and it's warning you that this material would land in page 2. When we have another file that we're going to open that has a lot of data, then you'll be able to see this in action. Right now, I just want you guys to be aware of what's the confines of those cells and those numbers, and really the most comfy one is the second choice when you're really trying to figure out where you're at, is the second link to really figure out what page things are landing in. I'm going to delete this 100 again, because I want to be able to have only one page of data, and I'm going to delete this 25, and then head back all the way to normal, which is what we've been working on from the beginning, because we're going to keep working on how to use Excel for calculations. But I just wanted to run through that, because a lot of the times people do end up having a lot of these questions when they get into something that looks really different. They go, oh no, I messed something up or something like that. No, you probably just click on one of these 3 and makes things look drastically different for a while. Just remember that the one we're working in is the first one, which is considered normal.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
I don't know why. Sorry for all this problem. But all I get down there at the bottom right-hand corner is a minus, and then 100% and a plus.
Mhm.
And of course, if I click on that, it'll go up or down. But
You
I
don't-
don't get the,
You don't have those 3 little icons?
yeah, I don't have those icons.
Weren't you using the online Excel?
No, he's
Goes to
using the Mac.
365.
He's
Yeah.
using 365 Mac. There's so many versions out there that this whole
Yeah.
class is using that I don't really have an answer
Yeah,
as to
okay.
why yours is missing those 3. Mine, this one here is a Mac 365, so that should be the same. But at this point, all I can say is it should be the same because I don't know anymore. Now,
Maybe if you stretched your window horizontally, it might just be auto hiding it because it's compressed.
Well, I've stretched it as far as
no,
I can
if he's
go.
if he's
Okay.
seeing the zoom, is he seeing the zoom? He's seeing the plus and minus, then these would be on the inside of that. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is to that. But yeah, I mean, there's always, thank you for ideas anywhere. That happens to be that, no, these icons are always on the inside. The last thing always is the zoom. And for those of you on the online version, we don't even have them there. So I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So moving back, now let me go back to the PC version because this one doesn't have, these things are shortcuts. Okay, they're shortcuts to things that you can quickly access. But in reality, up at the top, we have this view tab, and I'm going to go to the view tab in both of them. And in the view tab, you have that same idea, only you have many other options for how you can change your views. But over here, you can see that we're seeing normal, page break preview, page layout, and then you can make up a custom view. So they're kind of inverted because down there, the second one was the page layout. So I'm going to click them up here.
Yeah.
And then the third one was there in page break preview. Okay, so you have that under view. So for those of you who are in Excel on the online version and you don't have the little icons to help you, you can still go over here to view. And then here you can, here's the sheet view. You can switch to, oh, come now. You're not going to show me the versions? Huh. It's not letting me see versions. So this online version is quite different. If it keeps being so different, I might have to ask you to just do VDI because it's different enough that you're not able to. Yeah, that's all. That's the only option is showing me the view is. Look at all the views that I have from my PC version. I have all of those views under the view tab in the PC and on the Mac version. But when I go to the Excel online version under view, this is it. These are the only choices, which it's kind of like a minimized version, like the most, it's like the best of kind of choices of Excel, but it doesn't seem to be really a comprehensive set of choices. So whenever we get into more complicated things, I'm not sure if this is going to do the job. But anyway, this is where you can change it, only you can't change it too much. All right, back to home. And just to be clear, how many of you guys are using the Excel online version? Just so that I can see how many people this is affecting. I know that that Cynthia is using it. Who else is using the Excel online version who did not download it onto their screens? Susanna, you're using the Excel online version. Say, give me a yes or a hey. Okay, Katie, you're using the online version. Okay. If I get to the place, okay, and Ilda also, so quite a few of you guys are using the online version for Excel. All right, and I believe that Jessica also is. She's not here right now, but yeah. Okay, you can see the differences. Notice that if you really need the full-on Excel, you're gonna have to download and install on your computer the full version. Or what I have right here is I'm using VDI, which is the school access. So you just sign into the school website and then you use the full-on Excel version from the school. And this is what I'm going to ask you guys to do if you can't download it, if we start moving forward into more advanced things, and this in the basic Excel version doesn't cover it. Okay, so it's funny, people always are trying, in class people have one version and we use that one version, but here online I'm trying to show you all the versions, and I'm hoping that it's helpful and not too confusing to be showing you in the different versions. Okay, so let's head back into these the beauty of these formulas, which you've only begun to touch on the magic of the formulas. And the first thing that we touched upon is the fact that you can change any of the data and the result is always going to be correct. Okay. Oh, Oh, here I copied. Oh, that's interesting. I copied pasted from the Excel version. Look at what happened here. I copied and pasted from here this number to just open this one quickly to show you. And what happened here, I was like, why didn't it change? And it's because the data 15 got copied and not the formula. And we're gonna learn how to copy paste formulas later, but I was in a quick, just wanted to show you this version and did that. And so see how 20 plus 5 now is incorrect. It's 2015. And I said, what happened? And I click in here and I go check in the formula bar and all it says is 15. It doesn't have the calculation. It doesn't have the formula. I'm going to hit and go equals, and I'm going to click this plus this, hit return, and now it's going to be correct. And the thing that I'm just doing right now, I will be teaching you in a second, which is to use the fill button. So I want to teach you something new. So let's head over to the bottom and make a new sheet. I'm going to make a new sheet on both of these versions. I'm going to make a new sheet in all 3 of these versions. And I'm about to teach you something that is going to be have lots and lots of applications. And I'm going to introduce you to this today, but we're going to keep using this all across a lot. And you're going to see different variations of this, of how useful this is. So in this new sheet, let's double click and call, or right click and rename and call this fill. I used to call it the fill box. Some people call it the fill handle. It has different names. So I'm going to go ahead and call it the fill box in one and the fill handle in another. And then you guys can choose whichever version you prefer it to be called. Fill box, fill handle, typo right there. Okay, notice that what I just did here is instead of going right click rename, watch what I'm about to do. I'm just going into the name fill box and I'm just double clicking on it right there. And then I'm just gonna change that to handle. And then I'm going to double click and I'm just going to change it to box. So you don't even need to do the right click and rename. A lot of times you can just double click. So there's an upper, just and hit click away and that go, and then that changes. Okay. So if I double click on the name here, because it's the Excel version, it actually opens a little window for me to change that. But other than that, and let me see if this I is a regular I, that's better. Now that says fill handle. Okay. So what are we talking about when we are talking about the fill handle? Let's go somewhere in the middle. So I'm like in G11. Okay. So in that case, I'm going to head over here also to about, a little bit smaller, somewhere in there, G11-ish. And let's go ahead and write the number 1. So I'm writing a 1 and I'm going to hit return. And there you go. We've written in a 1 and hit return. So that's all we have is a little number 1. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do it also on the PC version, just so that I'm at the same place everywhere. All right. So now if I click away, clearly that 1 is on its own little lonesome. When I select that cell back, I discover that there's a teensy little box at the bottom right. And I think this one is best shown in this version, because in this version, you can see that there's a little box that's a bit bigger right there at the bottom right of any cell that I select. There's that box. And I told you guys that we'd talk about the first day when I was showing you ranges. I showed you how there's only one box. No matter how many things I select, there's always one little box at the bottom right. That's that fill box or fill handle. So let's go and look at my mouse and how it's going to change. First of all, remember the first day that I showed you, here we have the big fat white kind of plus sign, but when I hold the edges, I've got the 4-headed arrow, and then no matter what edge it might be, it's always a 4-headed arrow. And when I touch this little fill box, I get a little plus sign that's skinny and black. Okay, so my mouse has changed a lot depending on what I'm touching. And here we go. It's skinny and black. Let me just quickly segue to the handouts. You don't have it in front of me, but I have here one of the handouts. I'm going to open it up, is the Excel mouse pointer shapes. So if you want reminders of what all these pointer shapes mean, they change all the time. Okay, so here's an example. All right, you can follow up there with the handouts on your own to look at that. So I'm going to grab that little handle, that little shape from the four-headed, any of the four sides. It doesn't matter which side. When I see the four-headed arrow, I'm going to click and I can drag this little number 1 all over the place. I'm going to just carry it with me. So I'm just moving it everywhere. So the four-headed arrow is moving the cell. So the thing though is that when I move it, the number 1 stays, but the cell reference, the cell name changes. So right here, this used to be E14, and I'm checking that because there I see that it says E14. But once I move it, even though I still have a 1, now that cell is going to be B7. So this is pretty drastic. We don't do this that much in Excel because in formulas, the cell reference really matters. And if I really wanted the 1 to be the number that gets calculated and I move it to 1 cell over, it can just break down all my formulas that depended on that 1 cell reference, where that's the one that the formula was pointing to. And okay, so it's rare to move things around a lot, but we do it. And when we move it on a Mac and I put my mouse on the corners of a Mac, I get this cute little hand that grabs and drags. Okay, instead of the four-handed arrow, I get a little mouse, a little hand. And when I move it on a PC, I get the four-headed arrow. Now, what happens if I happen to have something else in this cell? I had a number 2. So I'm going to write a number 2 on some other cell. I'm going to write a number 2 right there. Okay, and now I'm going to grab the 1. And as you saw, I can happily move it around anywhere. What happens when I want to put it exactly there? I'm going to hover over the one that already had some detail. When I let go, are you seeing the little box that said alert? There's already data here. Do you want to replace it? Do you see that when I'm sharing? I'm not sure if the little box is sharing, but you should see it on your own.
It's sharing.
If I say, okay, then I actually lost my data of the original cell. I have no number 2 anymore. So be careful when you drop it, not to drop it on top of stuff unless you're trying forcefully to replace that data, because it gets lost. So now I'm going to do that here too. I'm going to drop this over there and I'm getting, there's already data. Do you want to replace it? And I'll say replace. For the most part, I should say cancel unless that was on purpose. And then we go back to this certain place. So if you said replace and you lost it, then go ahead and do Control or Command Z so that you can get back your numbers just like you had them before. Now we still have a 1 and we have a 2. All right. So that's how we would replace or move a number and lose the original data. The one that stays is the one that you brought over. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you is kind of like Excel magic, and it's pretty cool. Are you okay? Hello? Anne, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's all right. I just got worried. All right. You can mute yourself if you need to, but I'm just, for a second there, I got a little bit concerned. Okay. I know Excel is hard, but not that hard. All right, guys. Magic of the fill handle. Watch. If I touch the fill handle, so remember the mouse needs to be on a very thin plus sign. I'm going to click and drag, and that cell copied itself. When you're writing the number 1, that's not so hard because, it wasn't so hard to write a number 1. But what if you're writing a really intricate number, 2,347,892? It's much nicer if we can just copy it, right? And I can drag a whole bunch down and I get a whole bunch of 1s. Okay. Now I can also grab it and move it up and have a whole bunch of 1s going that way. I can also grab it and move it to the right and have a whole bunch of 1s going that way. Notice that when I finish doing this, I have 4 things selected. So what if now I grab this and pull it down? Now I get that one repeated bunches of times. So I can do it in any direction and move it to the left. I can move it up. I can grab 2 of these and move them over. And now, no problem, but I'm about to hover over that number 2. Remember I had a 2 in there? When I let go, whoops, I overrode it completely. Only this time I didn't get a warning, you're about to lose it. I just eliminated it without any kind of warning. So I'm going to grab this one here and I'm going to drag it over that 2. And there you go. No warning. I just lost it. So be careful. It's kind of fun, but it's also pretty destructive. Okay. And grab 1 or 2. You can move 1 down in any direction that you can imagine you can fill things in. Did that work for you guys?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
Yes.
How do you get that 4 arrows?
Are you on a Mac? You're on a PC. I know you're in a Mac.
Oh, in a Mac, yeah.
So on a Mac, it doesn't turn, it's not 4 arrows. On a Mac, it's a teensy little hand, a little grabber that grabs the
Okay.
hand and moves it.
Okay, thank
4
you.
arrows, it's a little hand. I should probably put that in the handout. I noticed that the handout are made mainly for PC. Let me see, does it say that the arrow turns into a hand? Nope, it just says the 4 arrows, but it doesn't have the little hand over there. This is a handout made by Norma, and she only did the Excel version. Okay. So so here we go. We've copied the 1 all over the place. Now let's go ahead and select everything and get rid of it quickly by hitting the delete 1 time. I'm gonna select everything from top to bottom and hit the delete so it all disappears. That's the quickest way to delete stuff. And we're gonna try a different experiment. Are you all with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
This time, we're gonna try to use it in a bit even more magical way. So let's go ahead and write the number 1, then hit the return key and write the number 2, and then hit the return key. All right, is everyone following me? Some of you guys are mighty quiet. I don't know if you're sitting there kind of like, you already got this, know this, and so you're not doing it, but I assure you, no matter how much you've been using Excel, for all of you guys who are kind of tuned out because you know, you're more advanced than this is probably something that you don't know. So wake up and pay attention. So now we have a 1 and a 2. Now, Excel is a master at repeating patterns. So right now, between a 1 and a 2, there's a pattern, which is 2 is 1 more than 1. So if you think about it mathematically, this is, you know, 1 plus 1 gives me 2. So what Excel thinks is that maybe over here you want to do 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1. So let's see if that's, I'm going to select these 2. And this is the part that's a little bit harder. Select both. Now, when I'm saying it's a bit harder, because most people see the 2 colors and aren't aware that this is selecting 2. As much as we had selected 5 or 7, we're just going to select 2 things here. Now we're going to go to this little magic handle and we're going to pull down, and lo and behold, what a quick way to write from 1 to 12 or from 1 to 200 if I keep going, right? I'm going to undo that last little thing because I don't need to go to 1 to 200, but basically select the first 2 and grab the handle and pull it down. Okay. Did that work?
Yes.
All right. So look at my screen. I'm about to show you one more thing. Let's go over here and start a new one. Let's go, for example, make a 5 and a 10. Now I'm going to select 5 and a 10, and I'm going to pull down, and the pattern is plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Isn't that pretty cool?
Yes, very cool.
The pattern keeps repeating itself.
After you select it, what do you press?
You select the first 2 And then you grab that little fill box down at the very bottom right of the selection. So your mouse has to turn not into this fat arrow, but into this skinny black arrow. And then you know you've grabbed it right and you pull down. If you grabbed it wrong and you're just kind of moving it, then all you do is you replace data and it doesn't work, okay? So you need to grab right when you get the 5 and then pull down, and then that works. Now notice, guys, that if I get those first 2 selected and I pull upwards, it still works. It goes downwards, it counts downwards. Pretty nice. How about if over here, instead of doing that, I'm going to go 1 and I'm going to do 3 over here. And then I grab these 2 and then I go to the right. 1, 3, 6, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, because there's +2, +2, +2. Or if I grab these 2, just because the little box is here doesn't mean I can't go backwards like that. And then I get -1, -3, -5. Or if I grab these 2, I can go upwards like that. Okay, so I could now go ahead and write any number. I'm going to go blah plus blah, blah. I have no idea how much this is going to be, but if I pull down, I can rest assured that this is correct and that this plus the, look at that. It's always giving me 4. That's a pretty interesting number I came up with. Let's do something a bit more random so it's not so clear. But if I grab these 2 and drag down, I can assure you that this number is this plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that. So when you're getting into these numbers, you can't be calculating them all the time, but you know that if you know how to do this, where you can see if it's wrong, then the same movement here, this is probably, or not probably, this is for sure also correct in that whatever the difference between 234 and 452 is, it's being added up to this number, and that's being added up to this number, and that's being added up to this number. Now there's no formulas, there's nothing there. It's just the fill handle. Now before I move on to the last example of the fill handle, is anyone needing a hand with this? Because just because I told you to grab this little guy there doesn't mean that it's working for you. First of all, you need to be pulling up or down onto its axis, because if I grab these 2 right now and pull sideways, that's just copying. See, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, because I'm not having it make that same calculation. If I go sideways, it needs to be up or down on itself. So if I want it to go sideways, I need to put something in here. So I would go 1 and I would go 3. And then these 2 are the ones that I would pull one side to the other. Okay, that's just something that people tend to have a confusion with. And it's either sideways you pull or upwards and down you pull for calculations. Otherwise, you're just getting copies. Okay. Does anyone need a hand with this that we did before I show a different aspect of this little handle? Yes, Cynthia. Cynthia?
Oh, can I share my screen?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yes, go ahead and share your screen.
screen. Okay.
Oh, yay, Justina's saying nifty. Anyone else who think this is cool, just write something on the chat. I want to make sure you're all awake. Those of you who are quiet there, are you doing this? Is it working?
Mm.
All right. Let me see. You're selecting those 2. Now put your mouse bottom right, but not there. That's it. But yeah, move it to the right. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Move it to the right. You need to be that you're on the left side. See that little box? There you go. Up, no, there. Now click and drag. Click and drag right there. Nope. It's kind of hard. Select both again, especially if you don't have a mouse. If you have there, click and drag. Oh, no, you're moving sideways. That's only going to give you copies. So select them both again. Go to the first 2 again, 5 and 10. Click and drag. No, hit escape. Okay, so see the guys there where there's a mistake made and you're entered in the moment. Whenever you see the blinker turn on, you have to, okay, right there. Yeah, click and now drag down. Yeah, there you go. Let go. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. I
It's-
missed
it's-
was
I
the
know,
little
it's,
empty.
without a mouse, it's hard because your mouse kind of moves all over. It's hard to get that little tiny thing. But once you get that little box, it's hard to get because you don't want this effect all the time. But once you find it, then it works. Okay. Try it with the 1 and 2. Select the 1 and the 2. And now find that teensy little, not there yet. Yeah, there. And now click and drag down. Cool.
I got it.
And
Thank you.
you can also grab the 1 and the 2 and then drag it and pull it up. Try that again. Try just the 1 and the 2. And now grab that little corner. And now, whoops, 1 and 2. Oh, say cancel because you selected, that ended up moving them. Yep. Now go to that little guy and now click and drag up. And it'll go 0, -1. There, right there. Now it moved to the move one. Yeah, click and drag. There we go. Perfect. Let go. And there you go. Negative numbers. All right.
Thank you. Okay, now
You're welcome. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but once you got it, now it's like, oh, I know, I just need to hover. Yes, Susanna?
How do you go sideways? And
So if you want to go sideways, you need to set up some pattern. So I'm going to set a 2 and a 4. And then I'm going to grab these 2 and I'm going to go sideways in that direction. And it goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
I don't see the screen.
If I select, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to start sharing again. Let me share my screen again. Okay,
Classes
Al,
almost over.
can
It'll be
you-
over in a few minutes.
I'm going to mute.
Yeah, it's supposed to finish at 6:45, but
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to finish at 6:30. I don't know, and I'll call you back unless.
First of all, I'm stopping you. And second of all, really it's supposed to finish at 6:45? My roster, no, my class says 6:30. Now I have to go check.
I'm fairly confident that 6:30 is correct.
Yeah, 6:30 is correct, Alan. You were not muted when you said that. It's supposed to finish at 6:30. Most of the times what I do is I keep you on way too long. I rarely, if ever, finish early a class. So yeah, the class finishes at 6:30. I'm known for begging you to stay an extra minute because I have something else I want to teach you.
That's good.
All right. So sorry, Susanna, you were asking me how to go sideways. So put in a pattern. I put in a 4 and a 2 over here. Then you select both. And then I can click and drag and go left. So it goes 2, 4, 6, 8. Or I can click and drag and go right. And then it goes 0, 2, 4. But they need to be following, like whatever you pull has to be in the direction of whatever you're selecting. If these 2 you pull down, you're just doing a copy. You'll just get 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. Okay, because they're not affecting each other. These 2, on the other hand, are on top of each other and you're pulling them out and it's like you're doing some kind of a calculation. And that's why it's working. Now, sometimes you can select 3, like 13, 14, 15 and drag down and it'll still kind of work. There's a place where it just doesn't work anymore. If I do 3 over here, this might work, or like before, you could never do 3. You could only do 2. At this point, I can't even test it here because I don't know enough these numbers if they're correct. See what I mean? But I'm pretty, I wouldn't be able to tell, which is why to test this, you have to test it with little numbers. But if I had to grab all these and now suddenly drag out, is that going to be correct or not? The more modern Excel gets, the more you can grab and still make it work. So before you could only do it with 2. So you could grab these 4 and pull over that way and you can still get it to work. Okay, to continue the pattern. I have some other magic to show you about the fill handle, but it will have to wait until next class. So we're going to apply this fill handle to the formulas that we began to learn over here. And we're going to apply it also to months and weeks and just a whole bunch of stuff that this fill handle helps you do. So now I want you guys to save this file. Those of you who are in your own computers, just save it wherever it is that you made your numbers. You can, wherever you saved it in your own computer goes well. I'm just going to help the people who are in this Excel version again, where if you're on a PC, you go to the File tab. So once again, you go over here to the File tab, and then you go to Save. And I'm wondering if it's doing it's doing automatic saves. Yeah, basic practice saved, because it's not giving me the choice to save. Interesting, this Excel version that's online.
Yeah,
weird
I had
things it's
I know the
doing.
PC has an autosave toggle in the top left. I'm not certain about the
Yeah, it
online.
does, but it always lets you save anyway. There's always a save option if you want to make sure that you've saved on the PC version. So I don't know why the Excel,
yeah. Deanna,
yeah,
I had this problem and I called the office there. And if you go into up there where you have your name of the, like mine says, book one, class 10/27/21,
yeah,
and click on that, then you have, it says, you know, you
like
can,
right there.
yeah, and then you can click on that and you get a option to save.
Okay. Here.
Yeah.
Gives you an option to save it again, to move it or something.
Yeah.
As long as it says saved, clearly it's doing an automatic save. And
Yeah,
the good news about this version's history is that you can go back a few versions lately on the 365. You can do that. You can go back to something that you saved before in case you made a mistake. I just didn't know that this version had it. Anyway, this is the same file we've been working on. We're going to keep it as we're going to keep practicing things in this one as we open as of next week. We're going to be opening big files with lots of data. First, we're just trying to learn the basics of moving around and getting all these tools that we want before we jump into big data. Okay, so so we're gonna leave that as saved. If you're on a Mac, you need to go up to the file. So I'm going to move this up to where I have my window, file and save. Now notice that up here it says auto save, and right now it's turned on. Okay, so if I double click, whoa, I minimized. If you want to auto save right there and you click on that, it gives you your choice to turn auto save on, and then you can access it from ever. You can put it in your OneDrive, or I've been putting it in my own computer. So I'm going to say other, and I'm going to choose to save it always in my own computer. But instead of using the OneDrive, I'm going to just go to file save, and this will stay in my own computer. I can do a file save as if you want to move it. And it goes into this version where you can choose what part and what place of the computer you want it to go to. So I'm going to cancel out, since I am going to reset, go over to the PC version. This is the PC version, and then you can go over here and just save it. And again, you can choose to save it in a different place or not. But if you are going to put it in your own computer, you need to go to browse and then find whatever place. I highly recommend go to documents. I believe last week I suggest that you all put in a folder called Excel file. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a new folder. And this is because I'm making a new one in a new place, but you had it last week. So go find your Excel, right, Excel file 2021, and open there and keep saving this one, which was basic practice. This one I'm saving in that one I was saving in a new place that I didn't have it before. All right, I'm going to stop my share, and class is officially over, but I'm happy to sit back and help you guys if you need a few more things. Oh yeah, so Excel, thank you Justine for clarifying it. For some bizarre reason, people who did the scheduling did it wrong, and we have Excel 1, 2, and 3, and usually Excel 1, 2, and 3 would follow always, 4:15 to 6:30, 4:15 to 6:30, 4:15 to 6:30. Instead, what they did is Excel 1 and 3 are 4:15 to 6:30, but Excel 2 is going to be 4:30 to 6:45. So the same amount of time, but they made a mistake. And if you're all in agreement, we can keep it at 4:15, or we can move up to 4:30 to 6:45. But the amount of hours is the same, but they made a mistake, and the schedule goes like that, and then it goes like that, and then it goes like that again, which is, I try to get them to correct it, but they went, well, but some people might already think, and I'm like, yeah, but this is worse. Anyway, I lost that battle. So thank you, Justine, for reminding me.
Sure.
That's why, Alan, maybe you saw 6:45. We're gonna kind of go down for Excel 2 and then back up for Excel.
4:15 is better.
I mean, to me, it seems better to just stay with the same,
Yeah,
the
right.
same times,
Yeah.
all three, if we
Yeah.
can. But
So
if
maybe
it's
what
past
we'll
that, then oh well.
what we'll do is when we get to Excel 2, if there's some people that are new to the class and they all agree and you can all do 4:15, we'll just move it up to 4:15. But if there's someone who signed up thinking, hey, I can only do 4:30, says that's the official schedule, we'll have to keep it at 4:30. But let's wait until the last day. We'll deal with that issue later. But thanks for reminding me, Justine, that that's maybe where Alan had seen the different schedule.
Thank you.
All right. Okay,
Thank
so if you have any questions, I'm still here. If not, your homework is tutorials on LinkedIn Learning, tutorials on the GFL Learn Free. And I want you then to, if you haven't done the new tables that I asked you to do last week, go ahead and create a couple of tables, make yourself a new file and just open up some sheets and make a couple of just some spreadsheets of, as you saw, as ridiculous as belt, shoes, and pants. I just want you guys to know how to create something from scratch and play around with the little fill handle a little bit. If you dare add up some basic numbers the way we just did, please do that too. Just practice, because then in 2 days, when you do it with me, it's easy to follow the lead. But when you do it on your own, that's when you go, ooh, now I really know it myself. So not a big deal, just practice it a few times. And if it's working, fine. And if it's not working, you'll know what to ask me on Wednesday. All right?
Thanks,
Thank you,
Tiana.
Diana.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
See you guys in
Thank
a
you.
couple of days. Bye.
Bye.
Good evening.
Gustavo.
Yes, I was trying to enroll by myself, but the
Uh-huh.
system just
No, you can't because
No.
the class is full. So I
Mm.
sent you already last week a form.
Mhm. Oh,
Go
really?
to my emails. I sent you the form last week, but if not, I can send it to you again. It's a signed form that you
Okay.
need to fill out by hand, and I need to send into the Emma and the SCL people, because the class is full, so you can't sign yourself in. It's not
Oh, okay.
possible.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Okay.
Thank you, Diana.
All right. De nada, Gustavo.
Hasta luego. Bonita
Bye,
noche.
bye, bye.
Mhm.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yes.
I don't have a webcam. Is this little picture sufficient? Like,
Yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Okay.
As I said, it's nice to not have all blank pages, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. You don't have to. That is good. And if you don't want to, even if you have it, you don't have to either. I just like to see some faces so that I know that I'm speaking to real live people. But I have enough people turning on their video, so that is perfectly fine. All right.
Thank you very much.
See you
Take
in a
it easy.
couple days. You too. Bye. All right. Any other questions?
No.
Nope. All right. So then I'm going to close out the class and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.